A profound transformation is beginning within your life. And I want you to understand that this is not merely a change in circumstances. It is a renewal that is touching the way you see yourself, the way you understand your past, and the way you look toward the road ahead. You have waited for so long. You have prayed through nights no one knew about. And you have kept your heart steady through days when everything seemed to stand against you. At times, you believed your perseverance was making no difference, that every step you took was simply falling into a silence that offered no reply. Yet, my beloved child, not one tear has been forgotten, and not one choice to continue has ever been considered insignificant. What is moving today was not born in a single moment. It is the fruit of an entire hidden journey, cultivated through endurance, faithfulness, and the right decisions you made when no one was watching. I know that recently you have felt a strange stirring within you. One part of you is weary because the journey has been so long. Yet another part seems to hear a call coming from ahead, reminding you that the former days can no longer hold you back. This is not your imagination, nor is it a passing emotion. It is a sign that you have matured beyond the limitations that once caused you to make yourself smaller. Relationships you once struggled to preserve may now be growing distant. Goals that once filled you with excitement may no longer bring you peace. Places you once called safe may suddenly feel too confined. Do not be afraid of this. When a season comes to an end, the things that once suited you naturally begin to lose their appeal, because a wider vision is awakening within you. You are like a seed that remained beneath the dark soil for a long time, not because it had been forgotten, but because it needed time for its roots to grow deep before it could rise. From the outside, people saw only silence. Yet beneath the surface, many things were taking place. You learned to preserve your faith when there were no visible results. You learned not to place your worth in the praise of others. And you learned to keep moving even when no one applauded you. The trials that once made you feel buried were, in truth, protecting you during a season when you were still fragile. Had you been brought into the light too soon, the first strong winds might have broken you. But now you possess a deeper foundation, greater discernment, and a quiet strength that no longer depends upon how others treat you. I want you to stop looking at your past as though it were a sentence pronounced against you. The mistakes you once made are not your permanent name. The failures that once caused you shame are not proof that you are unworthy. There were things you did before you possessed sufficient understanding. There were doors you entered while fear was still directing you. And there were people you trusted before you had learned how to recognize sincerity. I do not want you to use the wisdom you possess today to punish the person you were yesterday. Keep the lesson, but lay down the shame. Accept responsibility, but do not live beneath self-condemnation. Maturity does not mean denying what happened. It means refusing to allow what happened to determine your future. The burdens you have carried for far too long are also beginning to be lifted from your shoulders. You have lived as though you must solve everything alone, always believing that if you stopped, everything would collapse. You carried the emotions of others, tried to rescue people who refused to change, and accepted responsibility for things that were never within your authority. Because of this, you often became exhausted while still believing you had not done enough. Yet, my beloved child, I did not call you into a life crushed beneath endless obligation. There are things you must return to their rightful owners. There are doors you are not required to keep knocking upon. And there are people you may love from a safe distance. When you learn to establish boundaries, it does not make you selfish. It shows that you have learned to honor the peace I am building within you. This transformation will begin to reveal itself through small changes before it becomes clearly visible on the outside. You may notice that you no longer react as strongly to things that once kept you awake at night. A judgment that once caused you to doubt yourself for days may no longer have enough power to make you lose your direction. A person who once had the ability to wound you may suddenly feel unfamiliar to the person you have now become. Do not dismiss these signs. A great victory does not always mean that the circumstance disappears immediately. Sometimes victory means the circumstance remains, but it can no longer control you. When fear loses the right to make your decisions, when the past can no longer force you to return, and when you are calm enough to choose what is healthy, you have already crossed an important threshold. New opportunities will come, but I want you to receive them with wisdom rather than haste. You have waited a long time, and therefore, when a door opens, you may feel compelled to rush through it out of fear that it will close again. Yet what is truly right for you will not require you to betray your principles. Ignore discernment, or live in chaos in order to keep it. A good opportunity may challenge you, but it will still carry integrity. A sincere relationship may draw you beyond what is familiar, but it will not continually cause you to question your worth. Look at actions, consistency, and the fruit produced over time. Do not allow an impressive appearance to conceal a lack of foundation. And do not allow old experiences to cause you to reject everything new. I am rewriting your story, but not by erasing every chapter that has already passed. I am using those very chapters as the foundation for a deeper season of your life. The pain that once made you believe you were broken will become the understanding that helps you recognize those who are suffering silently. The loneliness that once frightened you will teach you how to be sincerely present for others. Every time you had to begin again will become evidence that an ending never has the authority to declare that your entire life is over. I am not merely bringing you out of an old circumstance. I am transforming you into someone who can enter what is new without repeating the choices that once caused you pain. The purpose I placed within you does not necessarily have to be seen by the whole world. Perhaps the greatest change you create will begin within your own family, where you bring an end to a pattern that has existed for far too long. Perhaps your voice will help someone who has lost hope realize that they can still rise. Perhaps your courage will open a path for those who have not yet dared to live truthfully. You do not need a stage in order to become light. Every time you speak truth with love, every time you refuse to participate in bitterness, and every time you choose to build rather than destroy, that light is revealed. I do not measure your worth by the number of people who know your name, but by the goodness produced through the way you live. Do not believe that you must always be strong in order to be worthy of this new season. I know you still have weary days, moments of uncertainty, and questions that remain unanswered. Readiness does not mean that you have become perfect. It means you have learned to be honest, to seek help, and to stop using pain as a reason to return to your former way of living. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to admit that you do not know everything. A mature person is not someone who always controls every circumstance, but someone who knows when to move forward, when to pause, and when to open their heart so that trustworthy people may walk beside them. Therefore, Let this transformation begin with a clear decision. You will no longer live as though you are still imprisoned by the past. You will no longer beg for approval from places that never knew how to value you. You will not chase people who appear only when they need something from you. And you will not use old disappointments to predict everything that lies ahead. Lift your head with humility. Keep your heart open, yet watchful, and move forward with peaceful steps. What is coming does not require you to fight and grasp for it. It needs to find you prepared, knowing who you are, and no longer willing to lose yourself in order to obtain what you desire. My beloved child, your appointed time is not a mysterious moment that will disappear if you do not react quickly enough. It is a new season unfolding through every decision you make from this day forward. Each time you choose truth instead of fear, discipline instead of delay, and peace instead of chaos, your story is being rewritten. I am with you throughout this process, in your confident steps and in the steps that still feel uncertain. Trust that you have not come this far only to be abandoned halfway. What has been planted is preparing to rise. Your sincere dreams are finding their voice again, and the right doors are gradually becoming visible. Continue walking, not to astonish the world, but to live fully as the wise, free, and purposeful person I have patiently formed within you through every season that has passed. Your life is being painted by my hand as a great work of art, where even the colors that once caused you pain are being repositioned to become part of a more complete beauty. You once looked upon the broken paths and believed they had ruined the entire picture. But I have never looked at you that way. I see how the days when you felt forgotten taught you patience. I see how the losses that once left you empty helped you understand what is truly precious. I see how the wounds that once caused you shame are becoming evidence that you survived what once appeared capable of destroying you. The world may look only at what you have not achieved, what has slipped from your hands, or the number of times you had to begin again. But I see a journey being completed through perseverance, awareness, and your willingness to rise. You are no longer defined by what you lost, by what others once said about you, or by the mistakes of an earlier version of yourself. You are being led into deeper peace, purer joy, and a life spacious enough that you no longer need to make yourself small. I know that at times you wonder whether you are truly ready to receive good things. After many years of becoming accustomed to lack, abundance may feel unfamiliar. After being wounded, sincere love may cause you to become suspicious. After a long season of having to manage everything alone, receiving support may make you uneasy, as though you are losing control. Yet, my beloved child, receiving does not mean becoming passive or naive. Receiving means allowing what is healthy to enter without immediately using the past to drive it away. It means no longer rejecting an opportunity simply because you fear you are not good enough. No longer distrusting a sincere person because someone before them betrayed you. And no longer destroying peace because you have grown too accustomed to chaos. I am teaching you to open your hands with discernment, so that you may receive what is right while remaining firmly grounded in your worth. Many things around you are being rearranged, but you do not need to chase every sign or attempt to interpret every event as a hidden mystery. Some opportunities are taking shape through very ordinary things: a conversation, a new skill, someone recognizing your potential, or a small but timely decision. I can use simple things to open doors far greater than you imagine. What matters is that you remain present, attentive, and faithful to what has been entrusted to you. You are no longer standing on the sidelines waiting for someone else to write your story. You are participating in your own journey through every choice you make, through the way you use your time, and through the boundaries you establish. The future is not built by desire alone. It is formed through small but consistent steps, placed upon a foundation of integrity, disciplina, and faith. Your presence can make a difference, but not because you carry a glamorous appearance that forces everyone to notice you. What others feel in your presence comes from sincerity, depth, and the calmness formed through seasons of testing. When you enter a place filled with tension and still speak gently, the atmosphere changes. When others are panicking and you know how to listen before reacting, you create a place of safety. When someone is about to give up and hears you say that you once stood in the same place but continued onward, they may recover their hope. You do not need to be the most noticeable person in the room. When you carry truth, kindness, and the ability to see those who have been overlooked, the light within you is already strong enough to touch places where darkness once remained. I did not place you upon this path only so that you could achieve things for yourself. The goodness that comes to you can become a source of strength for others. The work you seek may not only provide stability, but may also open opportunities for you to build, create, and serve. The healing you desire may not only bring relief to your heart, but may also make you more compassionate toward those who suffer in silence. The love you pray for is not merely a beautiful feeling. It is a partnership in which both people grow, live honestly, and create a peaceful home. True abundance is not the accumulation of possessions in order to prove your worth. It is the ability to have enough so that fear of lack no longer governs you, while your hands remain open to those who need help. However, do not assume that everything you desire already belongs to you simply because you have asked for it. Some desires must be refined, some paths must be examined, and some things that appear beautiful may not truly align with the purpose I am forming within you. I do not promise to give you everything in the exact form you imagine, but I will lead you toward what helps you mature, become free, and live according to your true values. Sometimes the answer is an open door. At other times, it is the strength to leave a place whose season has ended. Sometimes it is the restoration of a relationship. At other times, it is the peace to accept that two paths are no longer meant to continue together. Trust that what is best will not always feel most comfortable in the first moment, but over time, it will produce clarity and stability. The key to this season is to keep your heart open without surrendering wisdom. Do not allow the noise of the world to make you forget the quiet voice within. Every day, you will hear many opinions, expectations, and comparisons. Some will tell you to move faster, achieve more, and prove yourself more forcefully. Others will want you to remain where you have always been because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Yet you cannot build a meaningful life by continually reacting to the opinions of others. Make room for silence and consider what helps you become more upright, peaceful, and responsible. What is right for you will not require you to lose yourself in order to preserve it. It may demand effort, but it will not force you to live continually in chaos and fear. You are no longer the person you once were. You have learned not to allow a rejection to erase your entire worth, not to allow a mistake to become a permanent sentence. and not to allow one difficult day to decide your future. You are becoming someone who pauses before reacting, who speaks what must be spoken without seeking to wound, and who leaves what is unhealthy without carrying hatred away with you. Others may not recognize these changes immediately, but I see them clearly. I see that you apologize less for your own presence. I see that you are beginning to respect your time, your strength, and the boundaries you need. I see that you no longer easily surrender your authority to promises unsupported by action. This is the foundation upon which your new life is being built. Every choice you make now is like a brick being laid. A single brick may appear insignificant, but many bricks placed correctly will become a strong house. When you manage your finances carefully, you are building stability. When you care for your health and allow yourself to rest, you are building endurance. When you speak truth with love, you are building trust. When you refuse something that offers immediate benefit but damages your integrity, you are building dignity. Do not underestimate these quiet decisions. They determine whether you will be able to preserve greater things when they arrive. I do not merely want to give you one brilliant moment. I want you to possess a sustainable life in which joy does not disappear whenever circumstances change. There will still be days when you doubt. At times, you will look at the path ahead and feel that you do not possess enough ability. Yet strength does not come from knowing everything. It comes from your willingness to learn, to make corrections, and to continue. I do not need you to become a person who never feels afraid. I am helping you become someone who no longer allows fear to make the decisions. When a new door opens, you may walk slowly, but do not make yourself small. When greater responsibility comes, remember that the hidden years prepared you far more deeply than you realize. You carry experience, perseverance, sensitivity, and an ability to understand others with a depth that cannot be learned from books alone. My beloved child, trust the process, but do not turn faith into passive waiting. Open your heart to what is new while continuing to do today's work well. Hold on to hope, but establish that hope upon action and wisdom. Remember that you do not need to chase a life designed to impress others. You are being led toward a life in which you can breathe deeply, live truthfully, and become a source of peace for those around you. Every stroke in the picture is still being completed. The darker portions no longer conceal the whole beauty, and your scars are no longer the first things that define you. I am using everything you have endured to create a story of depth, a life that knows how to love without losing itself, how to succeed without arrogance, and how to shine without diminishing anyone else. This Friday may resemble a storm appearing on the horizon, but what I want you to see is not the darkness of the clouds. I want you to see the door being opened in the midst of all that movement. Others may see only instability, pressure, and circumstances that appear beyond their control. But you are being called to look beneath the surface. The storm is not coming to make you withdraw. It is coming to reveal the foundation that has been built within you through years of testing. The greatest danger does not lie in the circumstances outside you, but in the quiet voice that tries to make you doubt your worth. Abandon your purpose and return to the version of yourself that once lived under the rule of fear. I am telling you to stand firm, not because you will never tremble, but because you have been prepared to stop allowing that trembling to determine your steps. What comes may be unexpected, but you are not entering that day empty-handed. You carry the patience learned through waiting, the discernment formed through disappointment, and the courage created by all the times you believed you could not continue, yet still took one more step. Remember David when he stood before an opponent far greater than himself in size and experience. Those around him saw only the difference between them. But David saw the hidden years that had prepared him in places where no one was watching. He did not try to wear another person's armor in order to appear stronger. He used what he had personally been trained to use. This is also the lesson I want you to carry. When the giants appear in the form of financial pressure, broken relationships, uncertainty about the future, or the voice of insecurity within your mind, do not try to become someone else in order to face them. Stand upon the truth you have learned, the abilities you have quietly developed, and the peace I have placed within you. The opponent may be large, but the size of the trial does not determine the outcome. What matters is whether you allow fear to magnify it until you forget everything you have already overcome. You do not fight with blind anger. You fight by refusing to react hastily, by choosing honesty, and by courageously continuing to do what is right, even when the result is not immediately visible. I do not want you to treat this Friday as a prediction that causes you to sit and wait for a dramatic event. Receive it instead as a reminder to be fully present in your own life. If a bill needs to be addressed, look directly at it and make a plan rather than avoiding it. If a relationship requires an honest conversation, speak calmly, without blame and without silencing your own voice. If an opportunity appears, examine it wisely rather than immediately rejecting it because you fear you are not qualified. Spiritual transformation does not separate you from practical responsibility. On the contrary, it makes you more awake, more disciplined, and more willing to act at the right time. A miracle sometimes begins at the moment you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you and begin using what has already been placed in your hands. I may open the way, but you must still walk through it. I may send support, but you must be willing to receive help rather than continually trying to prove that you can carry everything alone. You do not need to press a button, type a number, or perform an online ritual in order to prove that you are standing in spiritual authority. God does not measure faith by digital engagement, and grace does not depend upon whether you make a declaration before a crowd. If this message touches you, let your response be revealed through your life. Say yes by awakening and doing what you have delayed. Say yes by refusing to return to relationships that continually make you question your worth. Say yes by caring for your health, managing your finances, and keeping the promises you have made to yourself. One small act carried out faithfully possesses more weight than a grand declaration that produces no change. I am not seeking excitement that lasts only a few minutes. I want awakening to become the way you live after the emotion has passed. The world around you may be shaken by uncertainty. Some people will panic when plans change, when numbers do not meet expectations, or when a door closes without warning. Yet, you have seen this pattern before. There were times when everything appeared to be ending, only for a new direction to emerge from a place you had never expected. There were moments when you believed you had been left behind, but later understood that you were being protected from a wrong decision. Your calmness does not come from denying difficulty. It comes from remembering that you have already been sustained through many things that once appeared impossible to survive. Therefore, when others see only chaos, Ask what lesson is being revealed, what must be adjusted, and what door may be opening behind the change. Not every collapse is a disaster. Some structures must be shaken because they are no longer strong enough to support your future. Remember Esther, who stood before a dangerous situation in which silence appeared much safer. She did not act because she wanted attention, but because she understood that her position was connected to a responsibility greater than herself. Her courage did not mean she felt no fear. It meant she refused to allow fear to make her turn away from what was right. You are also being called into this kind of courage. You may need to speak a truth you have long avoided. Abandon a compromise that has made your heart heavy. Or enter an opportunity that requires you to learn a great deal. Do not wait until every emotion agrees before you act. Some right decisions will still make you feel uneasy. Yet deep within, they carry a foundation of peace. Learn to distinguish that peace from impulsiveness. What comes from true guidance will not force you to act in panic, but neither will it allow you to hide forever behind excuses. The breakthroughs you desire in health, finances, and peace may not always be waiting behind one dramatic moment. They may begin with a small choice made at the right time. Health can be restored as you listen to your body and seek appropriate support. Finances can change when you stop avoiding the numbers. Develop your abilities and create genuine value. Peace grows when you no longer give other people's words or actions authority over your emotions. I may bring unexpected opportunities, but you still need a disciplined life, capable of preserving what is new. Therefore, do not merely hope for a downpour of blessing. Prepare a vessel clean and strong enough to receive it. The days of testing taught you patience, but they must now also lead you into maturity of action. If this Friday brings a phone call, a difficult conversation, an unexpected expense, or an important decision, pause before reacting. Breathe, look at the truth, and ask what aligns with the values I have cultivated within you. Do not allow another person's urgency to become your panic. Do not allow one rejection to make you conclude that every door has been closed. Do not allow one small disturbance to pull you back into all your former fears. You have changed. You can stand in the midst of uncertainty and still preserve clarity. That steadiness is evidence that the storm can no longer control you as it once did. My beloved child, enter that day not as someone waiting to see what will happen to you, but as someone who understands that you are responsible for how you will respond. I do not promise that every trial will disappear in a single day, but I remind you that no trial has the authority to write your ending for you. The hand of God does not make you invincible in the sense that you will never feel pain or disappointment. His protection keeps your pain from transforming you into someone unrecognizable to yourself. Preserve your kindness, guard your peace, and walk with discernment. The storm may darken the sky for a moment, but it cannot extinguish the light that has been established within you. This Friday is not merely a day of testing. It may become the moment when you realize that what once caused you to tremble no longer possesses enough power to make you retreat. Stand firm, not to prove that you are stronger than others, but to demonstrate that fear is no longer stronger than the purpose I have placed within you.